You know who did romance the best? The Romantics, of course. Let's learn all about it with Clara Schumann's ist gekommen in Sturm und Regen. Hello and welcome back to Meet Mozart. I'm Angie, that's Mozart, and today we are wrapping up our deep dive into the music of Romantic era composer Clara Schumann. The biggest romance in Clara Schumann's life was, of course, the one that she had with Robert Schumann, where they had to actually go to court and fight for the right to be married. The composition of art songs and lieder was a really big thing in the Schumann household. And in fact, it was Robert Schumann who really encouraged Clara to write more of the genre. And he was really intrigued by a set of texts by Friedrich Rückert called Liebesfrühling, or Love's Spring. And he had chosen about 10 of those texts that he himself wanted to compose, but there were 5 that he thought Clara should compose. And so she went ahead and did compose 4 of those texts and gave them to Robert as a gift on his birthday, which was a thing that the Schumanns did quite a lot of. And so out of the 4 songs that she composed, Robert, unbeknownst to Clara, went ahead and took 3 of them and published them in a collection with both of their names on it and gave her the first copy for her birthday. See what I mean? It's their thing. But what he didn't do was go through and write out which composer wrote which work. And so everybody just kind of assumed, since Robert was really the art song writer in the family, that they were Robert's songs. And if Clara had taken part in any of the composition, perhaps she came up with a theme, but then Robert, composed the rest of it from there. And so they didn't know who had written what, but it turned out that Clara's pieces were actually more popular than Robert's. And of all of Clara Schumann's popular pieces, I think this is perhaps one of her most famous because there's just so many layers in it. First of all, we have a text that was written by a male poet, but that we can assume, just judging by when it was written, that the speaker is a woman. And the text overall is quite joyous and happy, and this woman is so in awe of the love that she's feeling and of how wonderful and trustworthy her partner is, and she just can't believe that somehow they were able to come together. But we also have this element of Sturm und Regen, or storm and rain, and that's really where Clara Schumann drops us for the beginning of this text. And the piano starts in this really wild, tumultuous, exciting feel, and the voice is just being carried along sort of upon the waves of this piano part. But then as we go through, it starts to settle down. And the piano part becomes much calmer, and the voice becomes much smoother and a bit more subdued. And it more or less remains that way until we get to the very end, where the piano postlude picks up once more with this wildness, only to then settle again at the end. And I find that really fascinating, because something that you see often thematically in Romantic era music is that often the text is very joyful and loving, but the music behind it is very dramatic. And I think that's done in order to try to convey how passionately and how strongly the woman is feeling this love. And I find Clara's take really insightful, because although it does start that way, and there's all of this wildness and emotion that's coming out through the piano part, it eventually settles down. And I think that's a really indicative parallel that goes right alongside Clara's own story. Because of course, as a teenager, she was involved in this sort of secret romance with Robert Schumann that her father didn't approve of. And so there's all of those feelings of teenage love. But by the time she's writing this song, she has settled in to married life. And so in this song, we actually get to see a much fuller trajectory of the romantic life of someone like Clara Schumann. And so I think it's really special, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you with the help of the beautiful and talented Vika Schwartzman.
Ist gekommen, in Sturm und Regen, in Schlamm mit Lärmen, ein Herz entgegen. Wie könnt ich ahnen, dass seinen Mahnen sie scheinen sollten meine Wege? Ist gekommen, in Sturm und Regen, hat genommen, mein Herz bewegen. Nahm das meine, nahm ich das seine, die beiden kamen sich entgegen. Ist gekommen, in Sturm und Regen, ist gekommen, in Sturm und Regen. Ist gekommen, des Friedens Segen. Der Freund sind weiter, ich seh es weiter, denn bleibt mein auf allen Wegen, denn bleibt mein auf allen Wegen. Ist gekommen, des Frühlings Segen, der Freund sieht weiter, ich seh es weiter, denn bleibt mein auf allen
All right, so that wraps up our deep dive into the music of Clara Schumann. I want to say thank you again to the wonderful Vika Schwartzman for lending us her talent on these pieces. It's been such a joy to work through and dig through these pieces with her. And thank you to you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, push all the fun buttons, including that little notification bell. And we will see you next time. Bye.